7 things to avoid when trying to build muscle. Number 1, ego lifting. What I mean by this, if you're going hard in the gym and you just start packing on the weight on the bar, trying to lift as heavy as possible. Example, trying to do 1 rep maxes or setting new PRs. Yes, I've done this and I don't think it's worth it in the long run, unless you're a powerlifter or strongman. Because let's be honest, guys, it's easier to tear a muscle if you try and ego lift all the time. Like I've torn my pec, rotator cuff, hip flexor, and also I've strained my MCL. And that's just trying to lift too heavy with incorrect form and technique. So in my opinion, it's probably not worth it. But, my recommendations is to lift a moderate weight of around 65 to 85% of our 1 rep max using correct form with technique and with utilizing time under tension. Because if you ego lift, you might experience a torn or strained body part. Then if you get injured, you would be slowing down your progress in the gym. So what I mean by this is if you try and ego lift, try and do all these 1 rep maxes because the boys are there and you're trying to lift really heavy and you tear, you tear your you rotate a calf or you injure your front delt or your bicep or whatever because you're trying to ego lift with incorrect form, you're going to just slow down your progress, guys. So try and utilize, time under tension, 40-second sets, 70 to 80% of your 1 rep max, and going for 8 to 12 instead of trying to ego lift all the time. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. It's not worth ending up with a torn muscle part or an injury because you want to ego lift. Alrighty, guys. Number 2, dropping body weight way too fast. Cutting your weight way too fast by going into a huge caloric deficit and doing excessive amounts of cardio. What I mean by this, if you drop like 50 pounds in 8 to 10 weeks, yes, I get it. It can be motivating to see them scales drop rapidly, but then you run the risk of losing muscle. And that muscle takes so long to build, guys. If you're trying to build muscle while in a deficit at the same time, then I'd recommend just doing a small caloric deficit of around 250 to 500 calories daily, not 1500, because once you start going into that 1000 to 1500 calorie deficit because you're trying to lose the weight as fast as possible, you run the risk of losing muscle as well, guys. Especially you start to feel fatigue, you start to feel like crap, you start to lose your libido. You can just, there's so many downfalls to doing crash dieting. And then the biggest sad thing about crash dieting, right? You lose all this weight extremely fast, right? You start seeing results extremely fast. I get it. It's exciting to see the weight drop off extremely fast, especially if you're sick of waking up, looking in the mirror. You hate the way you feel, you hate the way you look, and you just want to lose the weight as quickly as possible. I get it. I've been there. I've been in that situation. But, if you lose it so fast and rapidly, what happens generally is you're just going to regain it all back and then some. So, just try to do it slower, the better, and, still resistance train just as hard as you were if you were lean bulking. Because if you train just as hard with resistance training and progressive overload, and you're only in a slight caloric deficit and you lose the fat slowly, you can potentially build the lean body mass as well underneath as you're losing the fat. So, don't try to lose weight way too fast because, you could rebound and then you put it all back on and then you're going to be depressed again. So, yeah, just do it nice and slow. And, 19 out of 20 diets generally fail. If all diets work, then everyone would do it, right? But they don't. So let's be honest here. It's a marathon, not a sprint, guys. Take your time with it, learn the process, and do it properly. Don't try to do it so fast and then regain the weight back because you're going to regret it. All right, guys, do it slowly, lose the weight slowly, build the muscle, and maintain it. And that way, you're most likely more better to keep it off for the long run, for longevity, and that's what you want to do, right? That's why you started dieting in the first place, right? At the end of the day. All righty, guys. Number 3, dirty bulking. A lot of people still think to this day that you need to eat in a massive caloric surplus to build muscle. This could be anywhere above 1000 plus calories above maintenance daily. Trust me, I've done this and instantly regretted doing this as I gained over 25 kilos, most of which was water, fat, and glycogen. I recommend instead to do a small caloric surplus of around 50 to 200 calories past your daily maintenance. But this all depends on your current body fat percentage. If you're already under 10%, this would probably apply to you. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. If you're already, you're 20, 30% body fat and you're trying to build muscle it's stupid to go into a surplus because you already got excess energy on the body that you could utilize to build that muscle. Either eat at maintenance or just under maintenance. You can still build muscle in a deficit. You don't need to be in these stupid huge surpluses to build muscle, because if you're in a huge surplus, what else is going to happen, right? You're just going to add more adipose tissue. Muscle doesn't grow that fast, unfortunately. So, if fat can grow extremely fast, yes, but muscle extremely slow. It's just something that takes a long time. Going on these huge bulk, I'm trying to bulk up and trying to put on heaps of muscle, man. Yeah, I get it. But going into a huge surplus isn't the answer, because you're going to add a lot of fat, water, and glycogen. So just tone it down, bro. Just go into a small surplus. If you're under 10%, then maybe you can go to like 200, 300 calorie surplus. If you're like 10, 12%, you probably want to only stick around that 50 to 100 calorie surplus. If you're at 15% and you're happy with your body weight percentage at 15, then just eat at maintenance. Simple, and just train just as hard with progressive overload, and you're still doing your resistance training. All right, guys, number 4, too much hard cardio. If your main priority is to build muscle and you cannot go absolutely crazy with cardio, guys, it doesn't matter if it's HIIT cardio or faster cardio, your body cannot recover, and therefore it impacts your weight training sessions. I would recommend just doing this cardio, as this is less impact on the joint and much easier to recover. So what I mean by this, guys, if your main priority is to build muscle and you're in there smashing the HIIT cardio, doing the high intensity cardio, you're doing hours of it every day, and it's affecting your weight training session, so you're not recovering well from it, and you're doing weight training sessions and a lot of HIIT cardio, and your HIIT cardio is making it so that you can't train the next day because you're not recovering well from it, it's going to impact your weight training. So maybe just tone it down, go into like a zone 2 cardio, or just do your 10K steps per day. It's going to take a little bit longer to burn them extra calories, but it's going to be a lot less impact on the joints. It's not going to spike ghrelin like HIIT cardio does, and it's going to be longevity. So I recommend doing HIIT cardio and weight training all the time is probably not sustainable, but if you do weight training and then this cardio, it's more sustainable, and you can recover easy and you can train harder in the gym, in the weight room. Alrighty, guys, number 5, neglecting sleep. What I mean by this is staying up too late. You wake up early, you sit on your phone later than you probably should. If you have a bad sleep, I'd recommend taking some sleep aid or seeing a professional in that field. Remember, sleep has a ton of benefits. Helps with recovery, supports weight management, promotes growth, reduces stress, lowers your risk of diabetes, helps boost your memory and learning. So sleep, guys, very, very important, guys. Don't neglect it, because if you neglect sleep, you can spike your cortisol, that's your stress hormone in the body. You can spike ghrelin, that's your hunger hormone in the body. So you might overeat calories if you sleep deprive yourself. And you're like, I'm not losing weight, but I'm not sleeping well either. So just make sure that we're getting enough sleep. Recommendation, 7 to 9 hours each night. And if you need to turn your phone off a couple of hours before you go to bed, do it. Just get into a habit of getting a good sleep in every night, especially if you're weight training 6 days a week. Definitely worth getting your sleep and recovery in, guys. Always recommend it. All right, number 6, holding back in the gym and lacking intensity. All right, this just means that you should be training hard with high intensity. So pushing yourself to failure on a working set or 1 rep from failure is generally where I'd be sitting. So around 70 to 80% of my 1 rep max, and doing, 10 to 12 repetitions for around 40 seconds. So time yourself with a timer, guys. 40 seconds set, 80% of your 1 rep max. So let's just say that your 1 rep max was 100 kilos on bench. Let's do it 80 kilos, time yourself with a timer for 40 seconds and do 10 reps. So 4 seconds a rep. So 3 seconds down, 1 second up, 3 seconds down, stop, pause, 3 seconds up, something like that. And time yourself for 40 seconds, guys, and go to complete failure or 1 rep from failure. And just tell me how you feel in the comments down below. So try not to hold back on intensity. Try and do at least 12 to 20 working sets per week. Warm-up sets are not classed as working sets. A working set is when you're training hard, when you've got a heavy load on and you're doing 80% of your 1 rep max, and you're doing 8 to 12 with 40 seconds. That's what I'd call a working set, guys. not a warm-up set. You don't classify that as a working set. That's more of a stretch and a warm-up and priming the muscle. All right, guys, number 7, training each body part once per week. You should be hitting each body part twice per week, as this will allow your body to grow 104 times per year, opposed to 52 times per year. I like to train 3 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off. This is what I do personally. I like to do push-pull legs, then day off, push-pull legs. So my training would look like, push day, I might do chest, triceps, and maybe front delts and a little bit of traps to finish. And then pull day, I might do rear, I might do rhomboids, laterals, rear delts, and rear traps, and biceps and forearms. So, and then I do my legs. So legs, heavy squats. You could throw in deadlifts if you're comfortable with that. Heavy leg press, maybe RDLs, Bulgarian split spots, things like that. And also might finish off with 20 minutes of core. You still want to train your core just like any other muscle group, right? Because it's still a muscle. You still need to train it. So, I might do 3 on, 1 off, 3 on. Some people like to do push-pull legs, take a day off or 2, and then do a whole body workout. So they're still hitting their body twice per week. If you don't have enough time, or you're too busy with life and work and whatever. But yeah, if you look at it that way, you can do it that way as well to get your, hit each body part twice per week. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. But thanks, guys, for listening. I really appreciate your time to actually jump on and listen to what I had to say about things to avoid when trying to build muscle. And if you find this helpful, drop me a like, follow, and a share, guys. And if you need help with training, nutrition, dieting, drop me a DM, or you have a look at my landing page on TikTok or Instagram, guys. And I really appreciate you guys. I'm out.